A personal vehicle is your opportunity to escape from the zombie horde of COVID-infected neighbors. It can get you to work without having to spend any time in the petri dish that is a bus or subway car. Or it can take you to another state or country where you might like the quarantine rules a little better, or have more space and maybe a backyard. As many industries are now being forced to reinvent themselves because of the pandemic, the auto industry is no different. The increase in competition for a reduced amount of demand will shift the power dynamic and maybe even push the world towards new technologies. Auto workers in the United States are going back to work today. Elon Musk opened his Tesla plant in California early, against the rules of the stay-at-home restrictions, but was not punished. As important as it is to get people back to work, where do we find the state of the auto industry? If you're stuck at home, or have been told that you can work from home indefinitely, you may not need your car as much, if at all. Consumer demand for vehicles in the United States is down 50%, and as much as 80% in Europe. And many people who are newly unemployed have large car payments that they now can't afford to pay, and may have to choose food and rent over their vehicle. Even before the pandemic, the auto industry in the United States was shrinking, with some predicting 30% decline by 2022. Automakers worldwide had at least 20% more factory capacity than they needed before the coronavirus hit, analysts say. That idle manufacturing space cost them money without producing any profit. As sales plummet further, shutting down underused plants may be a matter of survival. I think that most of us know that a new car loses quite a bit of value as soon as you drive it off the lot. But it's all yours. It's fresh and tailored just to your design of extras and features. But it is in the used car market where we will really see a cascade of effects that could crush the value of not just the vehicles, but the service industry surrounding them and the manufacturers themselves. Used car sales are a big deal. In the United States, 40 million used vehicles are sold per year, as opposed to 17 million new vehicles. And a lot of those used vehicles are sold at auctions not open to the public. These auctions determine the day-to-day prices of your average used car. These vehicles are bought and sold by used car lots, rental car companies, and leasing agencies. And the value of these companies is tied to the value of their assets, i.e., the vehicles. Used car sales fell 64% in the last week of March, according to Manheim. The Cox Automotive-owned auction company estimates that prices have fallen about 10% in recent weeks, though that figure is based on unusually low volume in auctions. If that level of decline lasts or worsens, it could have huge implications for GM, whose General Motors financial unit had $30.4 billion worth of vehicles leased to customers at the end of last year. Used vehicle auctions are for now virtually paralyzed, much like the rest of the economy. The grave concern market watchers have is that vehicles already are starting to pile up at places where buyers and sellers make and take bids on cars and trucks, and that this imbalance will last for months. March through August is the car selling season in the United States. But right now there is a lot of inventory sitting around, and it's only expected to get worse. More supply, less demand, lower value for your average car. Rental companies like Hertz and Avis are getting hit the hardest and trying to avoid bankruptcy. For example, Hertz shares have plummeted to $3.71 at the moment, from over $60 in 2016. Its bonds have collapsed. This 8-year 6% note issued in November 2019 at around 100 cents on the dollar, and that traded at 104.5 cents on the dollar on February 21st, closed today at 21 cents on the dollar. And then you have a whole lot of people that have financed their vehicles to the hilt and are now out of work. A car is the second most expensive thing people buy after a home. And there's over $1.3 trillion of auto loans and leases in the United States. Even towards the end of last year, the amount of borrowers who were 90 days late was rising. And just like the subprime mortgage issue of 2008, more and more subprime auto loans have been given out over the past decade. Now that a vehicle is suddenly less valuable, many with those subprime loans will default, and people will be forced to prioritize their rent and food over their car payment. And even though garages and mechanics are considered essential businesses, I have to imagine that profits are way down due to the major decrease in travel and repair needs in general. Ride-sharing companies like Uber and Lyft have finally given in, laying off workers as demands for rides has fallen 80%. Uber has temporarily shifted to trying to buy Grubhub, a food delivery company, one of the few things that has seen an increase in demand. So what does this mean? Well, if you're lucky enough to still have your job, you could have the ability to get that dream car at a much lower price for the near future. Dealers are also looking to turn the used car inventory sitting on their lots into whatever money they can muster. One of Mannheim's biggest tasks now, Cox Automotive Pollock wrote in his letter last week, is finding places to park the stream of vehicles headed for auctions. With gas prices low and expected to stay low for a while, many may again go back to buying big SUVs and gas guzzlers, and the best deals will be on new vehicles. To put this in perspective, take for example current large pickup buyers. Customers in this segment are purchasing units that on average cost $13,000 more than the pickup they are replacing, and putting on average $4,000 less down. However, by utilizing current 0% for 84-month offers, payments are on average only $76 more per month. Overall, many say the future of the vehicle industry needs a change, and that change may come in terms of a subscription service, just like your Netflix or Spotify. Maybe the pandemic will help fast forward this change. Volvo predicts that by 2025, half of the cars it makes will be diverted to its subscription product line. Consultancy McKinsey forecasts that by 2030, more than half of revenues from the car-based mobility sector is going to come from disrupted business areas, such as autonomous cars, ride-hailing, and smart insurance. So let's say you do need a new car, like an all-wheel drive Volvo or Audi to get you back and forth to your new mountain pandemic escape home. But then as the weather warms up, you might prefer a convertible to drive by the ocean instead. So Volvo has their service. Porsche has a system called Passport, and even GM has toyed with a subscription model for its Cadillac line. For now, the subscription service is risky because it leaves the manufacturer bearing the brunt of the depreciation of the vehicles, as well as new logistical challenges of weekly delivery of your 911 convertible for the weekend. Companies like Carvana and Vroom have been trying to do away with dealerships altogether, and are advertising the contact-free benefit of their service during the pandemic. In the immediate future, as restrictions are slowly relaxed, I imagine that most people will not be in a hurry to spend even a small amount of time on a crowded bus or subway car, and that most who cannot work from home will drive to work if possible. But many individuals and companies have come to the conclusion that working from home was a real option all along. And here in the SF Bay Area, companies like Twitter and Facebook have announced employees will be allowed to continue working from home through the end of this year. This could lead to dramatically reduced sales at the gas pump, the mechanic shop, and the convenience store attached to it. Eventually, the car market will recover in the United States. As prices get lower and lower, people will eventually be motivated to buy. We will also probably go back to our ride-sharing ways when we feel comfortable enough to leave our houses again. But how long will that take? And how will the industry have changed by then? Will there still be physical dealerships? What kind of incentives will car companies offer us to keep us motivated to buy more and drive more? As it stands for now, most of us will continue to work from home, leaving our vehicles mostly parked in the garage, doing no good for a massive auto industry full of millions of workers. If you enjoy this content, please click the like button and share, and consider subscribing for more videos. Thank you.